What to do, what it ain't, what it is, what's good, still a nation, what's good, good people. Welcome back to the break room where anything can happen. It goes down in the break room. I told y'all that. Today we got a quick episode on this beautiful Saturday. We getting ready for the Eagles this week in terms of Steelers gameplay. So we had a brutal injury report come out on yesterday, and it just sucks. We've been healthy for the most part. These last 2 weeks, we've had big names listed on the injury report. They might just be being cautious. But as I've stated before, we have depth. We have a lot of talent stacked at, a lot of our positions. So, we'll just see how it happens. We still going to war with mainstream media. If you go back through my videos, that's one of the main things I highlight. I highlight mainstream media and their hypocrisy. We're going to stay on their ass. We're going to hold them accountable for the things that they say. And we're not going to stop. We understand that, it's Pittsburgh versus everybody. But, a lot of people, if you just say that, they're like, oh, you just talking. Nah, I got to show you it's Pittsburgh versus everybody. The same standard they hold Pittsburgh to, they don't hold these other teams to. So, yeah, just stay tuned. Check it out.
Receiver for the second week in a row, Mike Tomlin said Tuesday there's an outside chance George Pickens plays against the Eagles. Meanwhile, after Philly's offense struggled versus the Panthers in a win, wide receiver A.J. Brown said passing needed to improve, which seemed to be a shot at Hurts. Then Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham aired out more of the issues between the pass catcher and QB. Here's Coach Nick Sirianni with more.
I didn't take it that way, and you can do anything and spin it any way, but I took it as we want to get better as a passing attack. AJ's part of the passing attack, and so we all want to be better at it. Jalen and AJ are both really outstanding people and both really outstanding players, and I love that our players are wanting to get better and desire to get better, and that's what we talk about all the time is how we get better and be able to do some things that are special. Based off what happened the last couple of days, hey, oh man, there's a little 2023 vibes. I see a lot of 2022 vibes. I just see joy.
All right, Kimberly.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Coming to you first. Do you have more confidence in Pittsburgh or Philly?
For me, I still have confidence in the Eagles. I still think the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts of it all is an issue. The passing game is an issue, but I have more confidence in the Eagles. Number one, Mad Dog, who's the more talented team?
Top to bottom, Philadelphia is.
I'm not so sure that's true. I'm not so sure if Philly is the clear top to bottom better team. And you could break it down by personnel. And we can start with offense. At running back, yeah, they're better. At quarterback, I can't say they're better because the one thing Hurts is better at than Russ is that tush push. You know what I'm saying? So he gets, I have Jalen in fantasy. He gets me a lot of points based on the fact that if they get on that goal line at the half-yard line, and they're doing a tush push every time. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen gets a lot of points. He gets a lot of touchdowns because of that alone. So, but Jalen is not going to go out there and dismantle a defense with his arm. That's just not going to happen. It's going to happen with a combination of a Saquon being a dog and Jalen taking the shots. But how you saw Russ hitting like 10 different targets, I have never seen Jalen play a game like that. Even last week, Russ hit like 8 different guys. That was without GP. Russ hit 8 different guys. He's truly being like a point guard out there. Russ can't just hand it off to Najee and say, Najee, go win the game. At least that hasn't happened yet because Najee isn't Saquon. So, yeah, they get the tip at Saquon, but when you talk about quarterbacks, I'll just be fair and just say it's even. You know what I'm saying? Like Russ is older, but Russ is still out here doing his thing. And so much so that if Russ had played the whole season, we will be talking about Russell Wilson being like a legit candidate in the MVP conversation. He's already getting consideration for the MVP conversation, and he hasn't played the whole season. So you know what? I take that back. Russ is better than Jalen Hurts. If Russ had played the whole season, he would be in the conversation for MVP, just like Saquon is, just like Lamar was. I don't know if Lamar still is because they've been losing. Just like Lamar, just like Joe Burrow, just like Josh Allen, Russ would be in that conversation with those guys if he played the whole season, if he didn't have that calf injury in the beginning of the season. And quite frankly, if Russ had started in the beginning of the season, we wouldn't have lost to the Colts. We wouldn't have lost to the Cowboys. Those two losses we had against the Cowboys and the Colts would not have happened if we had Russ at quarterback. Which is why I don't understand all the chirping of people talking about, put Justin Fields in red zone. Why? No. Respectfully, no. So they got Saquon, we got Russ. Wide receiver 1, you told AJ Brown and GP. GP got better numbers. GP, before he got hurt, he was the 3rd leading receiver in the league as far as yardage goes. GP had the most 20-plus yard receptions or whatever in the league before he was hurt. Russ right now has the most 20-plus yard completions from a QB, throwing it. So when we talk about AJ Brown and GP, I'm going GP. AJ Brown not happy because he's not getting fed the ball. And so, not having GP is huge for us. So I'm going GP. Wide receiver 2, Devontae. Clearly, Devontae is, better number 2 than what we have at number 2. However, I will say this. We have the better tight end, and then, Pat Freiermuth in conjunction with a Calvin Austin or a Van Jefferson. Russ is utilizing multiple guys to do the job of what one person would do. That's easily balancing out the scales there in terms of wide receiver 2. Offensive line, they have the better offensive line. They have the better offensive line, straight up. But one thing I will say in terms of our offensive line is they've been playing good the last 2 weeks. In particular, Broderick Jones, man. I'm very proud of the work that he has done. I just hope he continues to put the work in and continues to show that he is getting better. It does seem that the cobwebs he had, the sophomore slump that he was in, it seems like he's kind of coming out of that as the season progresses. And honestly, as the season comes to a close, post-tournament type situation, it is good to see and it's reassuring to see. So that's offense. Defense, in terms of defense, let's just say this. If you look at, depending on who you look at, Fox has the Eagles rated as number 1 defense, and they have the Steelers rated at, Fox has the Eagles rated number 1 defense, and the Steelers rated number 7. I hear what they saying, but when you talk about touchdowns given up, the Eagles have allowed 25 touchdowns. The Steelers have allowed 27 touchdowns. And so, number 2, this is based on Fox Sports now. Fox Sports has the Titans ranked number 2 total defense. They've given up 40 touchdowns. The 49ers are ranked 3rd, 37 touchdowns. The Jets are ranked 4th, 31 touchdowns. The Texans are ranked 5th, 33. The Chiefs are 6th, 28. And so basically, Fox is ranking the total defense based on the yardage, the average yards allowed. And so easily, if you remove all those touchdowns they gave up, and we go based off touchdowns, because that's what matters. Points scored on the defense is what matters. So you got the Eagles 1, they at 25, the Steelers 2 at 27, and the Chiefs 3 at 28. What we talking about? What we talking about? The Steelers, and I don't care nothing about yards given up. What I care most about is how many touchdowns people scoring on us. That's what's most important. So let's just say, to agree to disagree, let's say the defenses are even par. Let's just say they're even. Boom. I have no problem with that. So offense, they got the better running back. We got the better quarterback. I feel as though we have the better combination of, offensive weapons than Philly does. Yeah, Philly got AJ and Devontae, but if you take them out the picture, who they got for real? Offense, I'm gonna get that to us. They have the better MVP candidate. They have the better superstars, like big names. But we talk about like what's actually being utilized. Like the Steelers are utilizing their weapons more efficiently than Philly is. We're being microscopic here, but that's just the reality. So defense, let's just say we're even Steven on defense. Special teams, we have the best special teams in the league. So for people to just roll off their tongues, oh, top to bottom, Philly has the better team. That's not truly accurate. If you break down what's what, um, actually, you can make an argument that the Steelers have the better team, top to bottom. If we're talking about top to bottom, arguably the Steelers have the better team. Top to bottom, the Steelers have the deeper team. So these injuries hurt us, but we have people that's been sitting that can come in the game and make impacts, positive impacts at that.
The Eagles, number one. Mad Dog, who's the more talented team?
Top to bottom, Philadelphia is.
Okay. And when I look at the Steelers, for me, the absence of George Pickens, that looms large to me. Last week, Russell he threw for 158 yards. That's 113 yards less than his per average game when it comes to passing yards.
What does that even mean? Like, okay, he threw less than what his average is, but I looked it up and I honestly couldn't even believe this. But against the Panthers, a team the Eagles barely beat now. The Eagles barely beat the Panthers. And she's sitting up here talking like, oh, top to bottom, they're the better team. Like, you're not even giving any kind of consideration that the Steelers could potentially win this game. And I don't know how many times I got to come on here and prove her wrong each and every time. Like, it's easy at this point. Real talk, her parlays can't be hidden. I know her DraftKings is garbage because it's the Steelers alone. They busting all her stuff up. Her personal bias is interfering with her ability to do her job. And quite frankly, I don't know who's doing the hiring at ESPN. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'll come on ESPN part-time and spit better takes than what she's doing. Last week against the Panthers, Jalen Hurts threw for 108 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but he threw for 108 yards. 100-yard game is what he had against the Panthers. They barely beat them dudes. Jalen Hurts threw for 100 yards against the Panthers. And they sitting on here, national television, capping for these dudes. Like, he's the comeback kid, Joe Montana or something with the 49ers back in the day. Dude, like, and I know I'm biased because I'm a Steelers fan. Everybody's going to say that, look on the outside looking in. But I'm presenting facts here. I'm using what their logic is against them. She just basically said, oh, because Russ threw for like 130 yards or whatever, less than his season average. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with the Eagles. This dude threw for 100 yards against the Panthers. It's honestly mind-boggling to think that. And what I did was, he has 2,600 yards passing right now. What I did was I just divvied it up because they played 13 games. They're 11-2, and that total came out to be 26 divided by 13. That total came out to be 200 yards a game against a better defense. The Browns have a better defense than the Panthers. These are the facts. The Browns have a better defense than the Panthers. Against a better defense, Russ threw for less than his season average. But he still had like 160 yards passing. He still had 2 touchdowns. We got the win. And we won by 2 touchdowns pretty much. We won. The Eagles, on the other hand, with Jalen Hurts, his season averaged 200 yards. He threw for 100 yards. That's 100 yards less than his season average. He played against a much worse defense than the Browns and was largely ineffective in the pass game. He had 2 touchdowns, but the pass game was largely ineffective. They won that game because Saquon went off in the run game. And that's pretty much every game for them. And that's pretty much why AJ and them boys are imploding over there, because they want they want stats, they want numbers, and they're criticizing people because they're not getting the job done. They wanna make splash plays. They want to be on ESPN with highlights. They want people to talk about them. I get it, but honestly, as a team player, none of that matters in the larger grand scheme of things, because all that matters at the end of the day is you check off that win column. Well, at least that should be what you're focused on, is just the wins. So I don't even know what that stat was she just put out. Like, I'm sorry, does that prove anything? He still threw for 150 yards. He still had 2 touchdowns. And in all fairness, Jalen, even though he threw less than his season average, he still had 2 touchdowns. And he had a rushing touchdown. And they only won by like 7. What did they win by? They only won by like 6 points. Yeah, the Eagles won by 6 points on Sunday. We won by 13. Against Eagles won by 6 points against a bad defense. The Steelers won by 13 with a good defense. And you're making it seem as though Russ did something bad. Like, I'm starting to believe she got something personal against Russ, because that take in itself was garbage. It was terrible. It was dumpster juice. ESPN, who y'all got on this TV screen? Y'all ratings got to be in the dumpster, man. There's no way people are subscribing to this bullshit. There's no way. The only reason why I'm talking about this right now, one, is to call out the hypocrisy, people have against the Steelers. And 2, because it came across my YouTube feed. That's it. I see these videos on YouTube where people send me this stuff on YouTube or other social networks. And that's why I'm reacting to it, because that's how I came across it. I'm not sitting down watching First Take every day. I have watched the facility, though. The facility, they dope. I will say the facility is dope, because they speak from a place of logic. But other than that, I'll watch Pat McAfee because it's entertaining. I like the way they had their program put together. But yeah, I'm not sitting up here watching this bullshit. It's a waste of time. This is a waste of time to sit here and watch these people get on TV every day and hate on my team because of personal bias. They give everyone else the benefit of the doubt, and they find every little reason to hate on the Steelers. And every little thing they try to come at the Steelers about, they're proven wrong every time. And she's one of the ones, she refuses to back down off of whatever it is she's on right now. And it's just making her look bad, quite frankly.
113 yards less than his per average game when it comes to passing yards. So the absence of Pickens, now you're forcing Russell.
113 yards less. That's almost Jalen Hurts' total offensive production in the air was last week. 100 yards. Russ's bad day is still dumping on Jalen.
113 yards less than his per average game when it comes to passing yards. So the absence of Pickens, now you're forcing Russell. Who are you going to go to? They have weapons, but it's usually the George Pickens route that they go to. And top to bottom, like, despite the passing game and everything, they still have Saquon. Even though the offense is skewed toward the run game right now, Saquon is killing it, and they are winning games. So for me, the Eagles are still the more talented team, and I have more faith in them.
We already knew you was going to say Eagles, Kimberly. When it was the Falcons, you picked the Falcons. When it was the Jets, you picked the Jets. When it was the Commanders, I know who the Commanders are. I don't know who the Steelers are. When it was the Ravens, I know who the Ravens are. My opinion won't change about the Ravens, whether they win or lose this game. It's about the Steelers. Every time you come out here and you challenge the Steelers, they answer the call. And if it hadn't been for an actual all-out blizzard, the Steelers would have won in Cleveland too. We can't control the weather. Russ is 6-1 as a starter. When they gonna start talking about that? Before it was, the Steelers haven't played nobody. We actually have a winning percentage against winning teams. Teams that have a winning record, we have a winning percentage against those teams. And Russ is 6-1 as a starter. Russ is leading the league in 20 plus yards completions or passes through the air. Like, they continue to move the goalposts. That's what's the most annoying part about this. They just continue to move the goalposts.
Well, if you're asking who I have more faith in this weekend, it would be the Eagles because Pickens is questionable. He's doubtful, actually. If you're asking me overall as this season progresses, I would tell you the Steelers because I have more faith in Mike Tomlin. I have more faith in their structure, their cohesiveness, their togetherness, and the Steelers' defense isn't shabby. With the way Russell Wilson is throwing the football compared to the inconsistencies, at the very least, of a Jalen Hurts, I think you have to look at it from that standpoint.
And then, and real quick before I get off of here, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Stephen A, like, I really dislike how this dude be answering questions because he answers questions in a way that he can always spin it to say that he's right. Or he can always spin it to say, well, that's what I said. I told you that was going to happen. Like, oh, yeah, well, I have more faith in the Eagles this week, but if we're talking about overall, I have more faith in the Steelers because they have Coach Tomlin. They have a better structure. They have a better chemistry, like team and stuff like that. They're about team. Bro, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are getting paid millions to get on TV every day and lie. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. I came to this realization years ago from a guy named Nick Wrong. Well, actually, his name is Nick Wright, but I say he's Nick Wrong. He got on TV every day and just capped for LeBron. And the cappage was like, it was unprecedented. Like, I've never seen anybody go so hard for someone ever. I've never seen that until Nick Wright. And I came to the realization somebody got to be paying this dude to say this. Like, they have production meetings and things like that. And to a certain degree, this stuff is scripted. This stuff is scripted because, like, there's no way you can pay me to get on TV. Every time you see me on TV, I'm going to say something negative about somebody that's continuing to prove me wrong. There's no way. You're not, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is terrible. That's trash. If that's the case, that is trash. You know what I'm saying? Because the Steelers are proving her wrong every single time. And she continues to get on TV and say the same thing every time. Every take she has is, well, yeah, nah, I don't believe in the Steelers. Or, well, yeah, I'm going to go with the other team because of some goalpost they've moved to make it seem as though the other team is better. Man, it's just absolutely disgusting at this point. And quite frankly, I'm never going to get exhausted with exposing this bullshit, with exposing these lies. I'm never going to get tired. I'm going to keep banging this hammer. I'm going to keep kicking this door. I'm going to keep bringing this to y'all to show y'all just how bad these people got it out for the Steelers. Like, I don't understand why they want the Steelers to lose so bad. Why they want the Steelers to lose so bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But like we've said before, it's Pittsburgh versus everybody, man. And we don't care. We're going to continue to ride for the Steelers. We're going to continue to have their back. We're going to continue to show up. You know, it don't matter if it's a home game or an away game. We're going to be there with them towels, man. We're going to be there with them towels. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Steeler Nation. Shout out to the Road Warriors. Shout out to everybody that's rocking with the black and gold. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's truly us against the world. It's truly us against the world. I appreciate y'all for checking in. You know, we're going to continue to just keep having a good time in the break room. We're going to continue to just keep calling out the nonsense. But for now, this break is over. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay up. And I'm going to holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.